Hello everyone, welcome to Maths Bridge. In this session, we will see how to mount the Google Drive. What is the benefit of doing that so with Google Colab? So let me ask you one question: that what is mean by drive? What is mean by disk? You might be familiarized with these two things already, but let me bring a recap of what we already have seen. We have seen hard drive, we have seen SD drive, right? And we also have seen that the flash drives, right? And then we can think of there is a one more thing is like CD, DVD, discs. You got it? So now we see that feel of like difference between the drive and the disk. So let me give you like a little more context. Disk means a physical media that stores the data. Okay, a disk is an actual component that holds the data. Other way around. Okay, we might be knowing like a NAND chips, SSD chips, or optical disk like a DVD and then CD. These are all called as a disks. But what about the drive? Right, you see USB drive, solid state drive, hard drive, HDD. These are called drives. So drive is nothing but a storage device that writes the data from a disk. It acts like an interface for reading the data from disk or writing into disk. Okay, the drive can have a multiple disks inside. Do you understand now? So drive and disk. So that's why Google Drive, it's not a disk, Google Drive. So you can have as much space as you can, but by default Google provides 15 GB space as an individual, okay, from the cloud space. Whereas Google Colab is a virtual, virtually you can think of like how much space that you will be getting as an individual. So it is getting like 100 GB space, right? So you look at 107 point GB is already there, and then disk is already used by 32 with all the basic file system, and the rest 75 GB is still left over for you to use it. Okay, that is how you can think of. Now question is, okay, what we are talking now? So persistence of data is important, right? Because this is like a virtual temporarily given file system for active session. But if you wanted to actually preserve the persist the data, what you will be using, you have to use like a persistence storage space, which is what we can call it as in this context is a Google Drive is the best place where you can actually save the content. So one file, two file is fine, you can actually access these files, and then you bring over the files to the this Colab instance, and then you can execute them. But other part is like if you are actually working on like a bigger projects like a multiple files and the multiple folders, then now you are going to handle it. So one of the best way to tell that, rather you can keep back and forth copying them, you should be find out a way to see Google Drive file system in your Colab file system. That is what we call it as a mount the drives. So Google Drive, how we are going to mount onto this Colab file system. Mount is the Unix command line utility, instructs operating system a file system is ready to use and associate it with a particular point in the system. So means like what I meant to say is that logically you are actually attaching Google Drive onto this file system so that you should be able to access like any other file that you are accessing from this file system, right? That's the idea of like a mount. Unmount is like a counterpart. You disassociated the drive from this file system, right? These are the two things that you remember: mount the drive on Linux, unmount the drive on the Linux. These two topics we can see. You can understand whether any drives actually attached to this system, right? This is the command that you can use to check for that. If you run this command, the wheel is going to spin. That means the command executes, and then see it. Yes, no such a file or directory. That means like so far no mount point have seen in this. The reason I'm checking this is the content is in a folder in the file system, which is like a default folder where user can upload the files and attach the drive to it. So that's an idea. So but how are you going to actually mount the Google Drive into this file system? Here is the one option, like if you can run these two lines of the code, automatically this drive will attach to here. Do you want to see that? So let's run this cell. So it is asking like a permission, assuming that you will be giving this permission to connect to the Google Drive. I am doing that. So I will give this all the permissions that are needed. Then it executes and then probably provides a mount point. I hope you see that spinning the wheel here, and then it appears after some time the content. Do you see now here? Yes, the drive is already mounted. This drive is nothing but your Google Drive. Okay, whatever the drive we're talking about, this drive. So drive point, if you can explore further, you will be seeing that your drive here. So do you see now? So what you are seeing in the Google Drive, you see that my drive, and then also within the my drive you have the two file systems, again two files, I mean folders, Colab folder and the Python practice folder. Within the Python practice folder, this one. See now, without you go to the Google Drive, on your file system you are seeing as if like that this is like a local folder for you. Got it? So this is in a kind of an advantage. You can run, yeah, and I mean you can use all the Linux commands to do your work without you move the files back and forth to your drive manually. So this is a one good advantage of actually using the mount command to mount the drive onto your Colab file system. But when you mount it, by default you can see at a content folder where it mounts. Are you clear? Okay. Now you can see using ls command, listing the list the files or folders from this given path is what you have to see. Okay, in the Jupyter you will be using like this is what the syntax. Okay, exclamatory symbol, right? This is like bank symbol, and then go with like ls and then long list. This folder is what you're saying, right? It appears like how many files you have. So far we have only one file, and hence I could see that file appears here. If you run this Python file, this is a Python program, right? If you run this Python program, what you have to use like a Python command, Python interpreter is what you have to use. So Python and then complete file path. You can also navigate to file and then run it also, but this is one way of doing things. If you can run this, it will execute the Python file and produce the output. So this is the print first n natural numbers. That's a program. So what you do, give some input like a maybe 7. So what it prints is like it prints first 7 natural numbers on the screen. So this is how you can execute the Python file which actually stored in the drive, but you will be able to access from your access point, and then you can execute the file without copying files manually from drive to your Colab. Do you see? That is an advantage. This is the one of the best method for you to build a bigger projects within a given space limitation or the resource limitation. Are you getting me? Very nice. That's good. These are the few Linux commands, but I given, but you still can use all Linux commands that you would want to familiarize with. So because this is one of the best platform for you to actually even learn certain important Linux commands. So for example, df minus h. If you can run this, what happens you will see. So all the file system that is available, and then how much storage space allocated for each file system, that you can see in this case. Do you see now here with the previous file system, what we added is that the drive, right? This drive is like a Google Drive, right? Backslash forward slash content forward slash drive. So basically this is like in 15 GB, within which I think 2% already use it, something like that it talks about. But this is what I think you attach it. 15 GB is what you attach to your Colab file system. Right now space get increased by the 15 GB. If you unmount, this will go away. If you can unmount it, this is a piece of code that we have to use to unmount. If you unmount this one, let me demo that also. It disappears if it really unmounts. Okay, once see, it disappears. So that means now if you can run this command again, what do you see? So you see, you know you see not listed Google Drive in this output, isn't it? Because that 15 GB is gone out from this file system now. So this is how you look at like how you have to mount the file system, the Google Drive onto your file system, where you can see how you can actually leverage these kind of things that we can look at it. All right, so I will put it back mount point again. So I will mount it, because my intention to actually how to mount Google Drive onto your Colab file system. So it mounted, and then I could also see like it appears now, right? And I can start actually writing all the Python files and all. You can upload the files from your local system, right? All the source files to here, and then you can access them from the Google Colab, and then you can execute them, test them, run them, modify them, whatever you can do that. But idea here is like logically Google Drive really helps you to actually store the data, purchase the data for your work. So easy to access by using like a mounting the drive to your Colab file system, and then do all the work. And then if you store the files in the Google Drive, that means like in a shareable part, right? You can share the files back and forth here and there, like either the Python files or the Colab files, both can be shareable files. So you look at now the advantage of actually having a Google Drive and then Colab combination, how it works for a learner or a individual developer. As far as Python, AI, ML, sort of work, how they are going to get benefit out of Google provided beautiful option. Okay, this is a free of cost at a certain level, beyond which you might need to buy the resources as per your demand. I hope this helps. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, click on bell icon, and leave the comments. Happy learning. Thank you. Stay tuned to upcoming sessions.